Okay, so I'm going to install the two power pole connector terminals to the power wires on the back of the radio. Give you a little demonstration of how that works. Of course, I've already discussed how the connector bodies snap together and the fact that I typically use a drop of super glue on the connector bodies, and I'm going to go ahead and do that now. It only takes a little. And then when you assemble it, make sure that it's assembled correctly. Read the A is facing to you. You can see the steel tab that's on the far side, red on the right, black on the left. That's the correct configuration. And you just slide the two connector bodies together. Make sure you get them snapped all the way together. That one is correct. It's correctly assembled. It matches this one that's also correctly assembled. So at this point you'll see that it will not connect in a reverse polarity configuration, but if you connect it properly, it works perfect. So now we'll install this one onto the wires of the radio. Make sure these terminals are going to fit onto the wires properly. These particular terminal connectors are the 30 amp variety. Anderson PowerPoles come in several different varieties. 15 amps, 30 amps, 45 amps, and on up. I saw some really huge ones. Don't know how large they make them, but I saw some that were capable of handling hundreds of amps. Okay, this tool is very important. Anderson PowerPoles can be crimped using other methods and other tools with varying degrees of success. I've used other methods. This is by far the best. This is a TRIcrimp tool, TRIcrimp crimping tool that's made to be used on many different applications. It has replaceable jaws. The jaws can be changed out to do many different crimping applications. But in this case, I have the Anderson PowerPole crimping jaws in place. Don't know if you can see down inside, but there's some little openings in this little box on the back that the front of the PowerPoles fit down into. So it'll fit down into it like that. And you notice the split side of the connector should always be up. And that coincides with the little dip or divot in the top mandrel. Okay, so we're going to assemble it onto the cables now. What I typically do is go ahead and install the terminal into the jaws, and you want to put it into the jaws so that it fits with the little lip pointing downward. Make sure that it's in there properly, and you can close it up partially. And then you fit your wire carefully inside. Making sure it bottoms out into the terminal, and then you just crimp the terminal completely and release it. Now you've crimped it. I've crimped one terminal on. I don't know if you can see it too well, but it makes a perfect crimp every time. This TRIcrimp crimping tool is just exactly what you need. The next step is to insert the connection terminals into the plastic bodies that you've already assembled in the correct configuration. And you'll notice the little steel tab inside. It interlocks under the little lip, under the bottom of the curl on the end of the power pole connectors. In this case, if you inserted it in this way, it wouldn't snap in, so you have to rotate the wire to match. So I'll go ahead and do that now. And as you put it inside, you want to keep it straight. Once it gets about halfway in, you encounter some resistance, and you have to push a little harder on it, maybe wiggle it a little to get it started. And it'll slide underneath the steel tab, and as you push it forward, you'll hear it click like that. And it's locked into place now. So now we have made our connections there. We have a very sturdy connection. It's not going anywhere. So now we've installed Anderson PowerPole connectors onto the power wire on the radio. And we're going to double check it to make sure our polarity is correct. It is correct. Positive to positive and negative to negative. As you notice, it's impossible to connect it in a reverse polarity condition. Anderson PowerPoles, the greatest thing for DC power connections ever. They're excellent quality. These are actually some that I purchased through PowerWorks. They're actually made by Anderson apparently. It says Anderson PowerPole sets, 30 amp unassembled. I buy mine in unassembled condition. I like to have the flexibility to assemble them like I want. This bag full comes with 25 sets, so there's 25 each for each component. And the 30 amp PowerWorks or 30 amp Anderson PowerPoles are recommended for 12 to 14 gauge wire. The 15 amp PowerPoles are recommended for smaller wires such as 16 to 18 gauge, and the 45 amp large heavy ones are recommended for 12 to 10 gauge wire.